Have you ever met someone who views the entire world as a threat? That there's this thing and that thing and the other thing, and these are all the reasons that they can't be happy? I know I have. I know I've been there. I've been that person who scapegoats the entire world, trying to figure out some way that I could just get free of all this nonsense so that I could just be happy. This reliance on scapegoating made me miserable. But I found a way out of it, and if this sounds like you, I know you can too. Welcome to Squeaky's Cauldron. I am your host, Sarah Evergreen, a coach specializing in inner child work, shadow work, and boundary work. Thank you for coming to my channel. Today, of course, we're going to be talking about the scapegoat, specifically the scapegoat in the role of reparenting and how those two things come together. The first thing to know about the scapegoat is that it generally emerges in childhood. Often, a child will be turned into the scapegoat for a family. This often goes hand in hand with the black sheep, so the black sheep becomes the scapegoat and essentially the dumping ground for the caretakers and other members of the family's issues. Kitty, and because we're talking reparenting, of course we're going to be talking about childhood. So, how does the scapegoat link into childhood? There's a couple of things at work here. First is when the family turns a child into a scapegoat. This happens when caretakers and other members of the family are not able to practice emotional regulation or self-awareness, and a child then becomes the focus of the family's ills. This often goes hand in hand with a child being turned into a black sheep. And the black sheep often goes hand in hand with a child who can see things more clearly and speaks up about the things that they can see. That is a topic for another video that we will absolutely get to because I have so much personal experience in that, and I reckon a lot of you watching this do as well. So we'll definitely tackle that. When the scapegoat is in play, the child is not allowed to be a child. The child becomes a problem child. The child becomes an issue. The child becomes something that the adults can say, look, why are you acting so badly? Your father is upset. If you would only act well, if you would only act obediently, then he'd be fine. Or vice versa with the mother or with the siblings. And when a child is told that they're the problem, that they're the reason that things hurt, they're the reason that things are confusing, they're the reason that they're not being taken care of the way that they're supposed to be by their parents or guardians, then that scapegoat becomes internalized. And as they're growing up, it will become both I am broken, and it enables this individual to look at the world around them and say, okay, if I caused all these problems for these people, then surely other things outside of me are the reason for my problems, as well as the fact that I'm inherently broken. Even when a child is not put into the scapegoat position, if they are modeled scapegoating by their parents, then this frame of reference does continue into adulthood, where they say, we say, maybe you say, it's not my fault I feel this way. It's this, this, or this. And if only this, this, or this were gone, if only my shitty boss was not a shitty boss, or if only I didn't have to live in this particular city, if only my husband or my wife were more supportive and caring, everything would be great for me. That is scapegoating. Can you see any places in your childhood where your parents or guardians utilized this scapegoating method? Were you a scapegoated child? Let me know. And again, I want to emphasize, I have so much sympathy for this because I was in that position and I utilized scapegoating for so long in my life. It's very tempting. It's very kind of juicy in a way to want to say, it's not my responsibility. My happiness is not my responsibility. It's someone else's. This is codependent behavior. This is something that can be renegotiated through reparenting. Just want to pop in here real quick to give a shout out to my beautiful patrons, Daniela Respress, Samantha Oki, Valerie Feel, Haysam Ismail, and Kim Trupiano. Thank you so much for your beautiful support. If you are interested in getting bi-monthly community tarot readings, extended episodes, and shout-outs on YouTube and on the podcast, go ahead and check the link in the description for my Patreon page. Thank you. When we move out of childhood into adulthood, scapegoating turns into emotional dysregulation, or rather it doesn't turn into it. It's emotional dysregulation throughout the entire process, because as a child who either witnesses and is modeled scapegoating or becomes the scapegoat themselves, that emotional regulation gets fucked up. What comes out of that is an inability to sit with one's own emotions, an inability to have conversations about difficult topics without going like kind of nuclear, or some level that is not commensurate to what is actually happening in the moment. So there's a pile of dishes that didn't get done and it turns into a screaming fight, or there's someone that comes into your life that maybe triggers some things from childhood and they become the enemy, because this kind of emotional dysregulation, specifically around scapegoating, leads directly into a victim mentality. I'm the one that's being wounded. I'm the one that can't handle things. I am the one that is being targeted by all of these evil, mean people, things, situations, the universe. And that's not true. That makes me think of the drama triangle, which is something, again, I'll cover in another video. But essentially there's 3 points on the drama triangle: the victim, the rescuer, and the perpetrator. And when someone is in any of these points, then they're inside of a triangle that no one is served from, because the victim can stay victim. The rescuer comes in like Superman and I can fix it, I can make you feel better. And then the perpetrator is turned into this evil monster. And what often happens is these roles will get switched around. So when that victim mentality exists, it's then becomes someone else's responsibility and duty to make sure that this person is taken care of. And in childhood, you're supposed to be taken care of by your caretakers, by your parents. That's their fucking job. And no parent is able to take care of all of the things. That's why reparenting, I think, is a crucial element of healing for literally everyone. Because even with the best parents, there's going to be gaps. In the space of scapegoating other people, feeling scapegoated yourself, and perpetuating this victim mentality, like what can you do? How do you move forward from that? The scapegoat is in and of itself an indicator of how to heal. Let's go back to the example of someone coming into your life that feels threatening. It could be a boss, it could be a coworker, it could be a friend of a lover, it could be any number of, it could be anyone, really. So this person comes into your life and you say, ooh, that doesn't feel good. I don't like something about that. I don't want this person in my life, and they're the reason that I feel bad. And I feel so bad right now. And I need to get them out. I need to get them away from me. Now, there's abuse, obviously, which is a whole nother topic. What we're talking about here is not abusive behaviors. What we're talking about is turning a person into an enemy because they are triggering something. And here's the key. When you find yourself scapegoating someone else or another situation or yourself, you can rest assured that underneath that story The story underneath that story is going to direct you to where the true wounding is, where the original wounding is, where that came up in your childhood. So if it's a boss that feels overly authoritarian, that feels like they're micromanaging things, that feels like unsafe in some way, take a step back and start to examine, I think, how old you feel when you are engaged with that presence. That will give you some clues as to where the original wounding is. And if you want to go deeper on this, I have some really beautiful techniques that I use within my coaching. You can find my coaching offers in the link in the description. Feel free to reach out for a free 20-minute discovery call to see if we can work together and if we vibe. Again, that link is in the description. There's many techniques to get into that original wounding, to get into that space and start to reprogram it. But just know, for the sake of brevity in this video, that the thing that you're scapegoating, while it may have issues in and of itself, if you're putting all of this like past trauma and past triggers onto that person or situation, you're not actually going to be able to navigate what is truly problematic in that person or situation, because you're still like navigating all of your childhood stuff on top of it. So going back to that and working on healing that will make you so much more capable of navigating challenging situations in your present. And when you can do that and pair it with learning emotional regulation, which again, I have a number of techniques to do, then you're able to find yourself in a way more resilient, way more receptive, way more able to handle your life place. And while I'm not saying that you'll never get triggered, because, you know, we're humans and we've got like all sorts of little pockets of trauma that can pop up, eventually, and rather quickly in my experience, you'll be able to handle them with so much more ease and grace for yourself and for other people in your life. So if you've enjoyed this video, go ahead and drop a like. And if you want to share where you are seeing scapegoating pop up in your life, whether you're feeling scapegoated, which is an interesting thing in and of itself, or you find yourself scapegoating other people or other things, drop me a comment. Let me know. I feel like it's a useful thing to see these things printed out in black and white and to bear them so that other people can bear witness to your truth and to de-shame it, because shame cannot exist in the light of curiosity. When you rely on scapegoats to explain why you're hurting, you never get a chance to actually heal that pain, and you limit your ability to navigate legitimate issues in your life. But you don't have to live there forever. Want to learn more about reparenting? Check out this ever-growing playlist on reparenting, which I am building as I'm concurrently building a course on magical reparenting utilizing the tarot. So look out for that, look out for more videos, and until next time, my lovelies, as always and forever, use your voice.